everybody, to Go Local Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder, and spectacular day outside. If you haven't seen it, we have a big story breaking down the details on the Superman building, but I don't want to delay. I want to go down to our friend Fred Magnanimi, the head of Luca Danni, a startup jewelry company here in Rhode Island that has just become a national phenomenon. It is a big, brawny company now. Fred, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Josh. Great to be here again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you're one of those Rhode Island success stories, right? You took kind of old school, your dad's old school jewelry company, spun off something new, created something powerful, and you're now a national brand doing important work. Talk about some of the important work you've done from a global standpoint most recently.
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, being based in Rhode Island and kind of tapping into this like amazing ecosystem around just manufacturing in general. And I think for me, that's like one of the most important aspects of what we do. We've been able to repurpose my dad's old business, which is Mag Jewelry, now into Luca and Danni. We're in the same building that my grandfather started. I think he was in there in like 1968. And then all of my local vendors, it's kind of cool. Like they're all my dad's old friends, right? So we've been able to like really tap into that ecosystem. Business is completely different, but we've been able to kind of leverage the infrastructure in a cool way. So I love that aspect of it. I love making things in Rhode Island. I love making them in the U.S. And that sort of maker mentality, I think, is one of the things that makes us special. What's also cool about being a founder and sort of creating this platform, right? So we're a brand, but we've got this amazing platform. We're, I don't know, 650, 700,000 social media followers now. Is when things happen, you have a platform to be able to have a voice. And so when we saw what was going on in Ukraine, above anything else, I'm a father. I've got 3 young kids, and I looked at all the things that were happening to families being displaced, and we said like we've got to do something. And as a jewelry brand, we were struggling with like what do we want to do. And the great thing about the digital economy is you have this immediate plug-in and this direct plug-in to consumers. And on Facebook, we got people saying, hey, the national flower of Ukraine is the sunflower. You guys have a great yellow sunflower. You should do some sort of give back. And so we took that, we ran with it. We partnered with an agency out of Cambridge, Mass called Sunflower Peace. And what I love about them is they're giving backpacks full of medical aid and humanitarian things to frontline workers, right, in the Ukraine. So it's making immediate impact at sort of ground zero of where all this stuff is happening. So we're donating 50% of the proceeds from our yellow sunflower bracelet. I've actually got it here, one of our favorite designs, and we give 50% of the proceeds over to Sunflower Peace. And our goal really is to make the biggest impact as possible. And we've enjoyed having the ability to kind of play our small part in what's going on in the world.
So Fred, let's talk about 2 things. First, how much have you raised for this initiative?
Yeah, I think we're right now close to $35,000. I haven't done all the math on it. We've got it permeating a bunch of different areas. So we've got it on our website. We're selling it on Amazon. We just last week did an event on Good Morning America, and we've got it with all of our wholesale partners. So I've got to sum up all the amounts, but I think our goal is to be somewhere between, and we'll run this for the next couple of months. I think our goal is to be somewhere around $45,000 of donations, which is awesome because we started this, I think, on March 2nd or March 3rd. So we're not too far into this.
And Fred, what'd you say, $50,000? That's what you can raise, $50,000?
I think that's what we'll end up at, is somewhere around $40,000 or $50,000. Yeah.
I think it was 50. That's what I heard.
50. Yeah. You're gonna put me on the hook for the difference there.
I am putting you on the hook for the $50,000, and here's what we'll do: we'll push it out here and Go Local as well, and see how many Rhode Islanders we can get to join the initiative. I can tell you from covering the news, Rhode Islanders care deeply about the plight of Ukrainians. We've been running the real-time news feeds from the Kiev Independent, which is kind of the Go Local of that country, and kind of breakaway digital platform. And people are engaged in it. People read it every day, and the amount of sort of local coverage that has gone global has been amazing. Listen, it's a heartbreaking story, but it's also that sort of thing that has brought Americans, I think, together. of whether you're on the left or the right, you care deeply about the plight of these people. It's really been, I think, in a bizarre way, a positive thing for America. Fred, let's talk about the business. We've watched each other's companies grow up over the past few years, and you've had remarkable success. Talk about the success and talk about, you talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but those roots of Rhode Island manufacturing, of old school jewelry manufacturing that I think get labeled dead 20 or 30 years ago, but is really thriving right now. I've been to your plant numerous times. This is made in America by people from Cranston and West Warwick and all the rest of it. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I think it's our superpower, right? Is our ability to just move quickly. Like we have the ability to make things. I'll give you a good example. The paper store, which is one of our bigger retail partners, they were looking for a sunflower pin, trying to source it. They were getting quoted weeks and months to be able to make something. They gave us the idea. We had it in their distribution center in 5 days. And so the ability to be able to, like, my supply chain, we don't ship anything. They have a van, they drop things off, right? So it's like if I have a problem with how to make something, I can drive, or I can have someone come to my facility. We could sit down, we could talk about it. I mean, I think there's this untapped sort of maker mentality in Rhode Island. It's definitely dwindled. It's not. I remember as a kid, there were, all my friends were either families of jewelry owners or their parents worked in jewelry factories, and it's definitely not the same, but it's still I think a huge resource. There's a lot of jewelry that's still made in Rhode Island. And I was in a place called Quality Spray yesterday, and they were they're showing me all the things outside of jewelry that they're making. So there's a lot of really, really cool manufacturing infrastructure in the state. We think it's one of our biggest competitive advantages in terms of being able to scale a business. We have the ability to tap into things that, unless you're in this geographic region, you can't tap into. And if you look at what's happening in China, between the cost of freight containers, the cost of shipping things, and you have no idea whether or not they're going to shut the entire country down because they have one COVID case. I think supply chain in some ways is getting better, but in some ways it continues to get worse. So we think having everything local, for us, outside of the fact that that's just the way that we want to do it, and we're pretty stubborn about changing it, I think it gives us a great advantage. The other thing too is I think it creates a culture, right? If you've been in my facility, right, we're now 72 people. A lot of that's on the manufacturing side. When I go in, I walk around, I say hello to the employees. There's definitely a vibe. We have a second office that's sales, marketing, creative. They actually come to the factory because there's like an aura, and definitely like a vibe in the place. So I think continuing to support this as much as we can is something that we're critically focused on.
Fred, the other thing that has fueled, I think, a lot of your growth and success is Rhode Island's capability at design. And it's sort of that other secret that helped build a lot of Rhode Island's success, that ability to tap into great designers, that creative voice here in Rhode Island. Talk a little bit about that, because you have some tremendous jewelry designs.
Yeah, so we've got I think first and foremost, it starts with our internal staff. We've got a great design team. But I think it also, like, we can tap into places like RISD, so you have a lot of this sort of creative energy in the state. There's the heritage of the jewelry business, right? So I think you could tap into a lot of local designers, where if you're at a place like Texas, I just don't think that you have those opportunities. But what we do a lot of, which is pretty cool, we work with a lot of like pantographers, model makers. Most of these people are a little bit older, so they've done this for decades. They have all the expertise in how to do things in like a handcrafted way. And if you ever sat in some of our design meetings and we bring in some of these outside model makers, we'll give them instructions of what we want, but we'll also artistically let them sort of interpret it. Sometimes when you go from a piece of paper or a computer screen into metal, it looks very different. And they've made, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of models. And so we really try to tap into their artistic ability. So it's part of it's internal with us. And then part of it's this ecosystem. If we're looking for a box, I can go to 4 or 5 box makers, and I could say, what are your ideas with stuff? If we're looking for cards or packaging or displays, even like finishing work, like plating finishes, spray finishes, all of that stuff, we have the ability because of where we're based to sort of tap into not only our ideas, but a lot of our best ideas actually come from our vendors and from our consumers. And so I feel really lucky to be able to do things in Rhode Island, which is awesome.
Fred, last word, last question for you. Where do you see Luca and Danny going? How big a phenomenon can this company be? And that ability to not only tap into Rhode Island manufacturing, creativity, but also return to the community, whether it's here or in the Ukraine. How far can this company go?
Yeah, I think our goal is to become the next great omni jewelry brand. So we're looking, obviously, digital is about 75% of our business, but looking at marketplaces like Amazon and retail partners. Um, I think we want to grow at a measured pace. We've looked at other brands, I think, that have grown too fast, and I think the environment right now is more challenging than it's been in the past. But our goal remains to be the next great brand in the space. We feel like we have the brand, we feel like we have the people, we feel like we have the products, and we're really focused on doing this the right way. So I think we can get 4, 5, 6 times bigger than we are right now, and I think we've got the good infrastructure in order to be able to do that.
Fred Magnanimi from Luca and Danny, first of all, congratulations on all the success. Second of all, thank you so much for the initiative to help support folks in the Ukraine who are in the middle of a horrific war there. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to join us. For everybody else, stay tuned. We'll be back up in just a little while with the Convention and Visitors Bureau talking about how they're rebuilding the meeting space here in Rhode Island, getting those conventions back into Rhode Island and those top level business meetings. Also, if you haven't gotten boosted, numbers are up in Rhode Island. We had Dr. McDonald from the Department of Health. Numbers are up and people are getting sick. Get boosted, stay out of the hospital, and have a healthy, confident summer and enjoy this great weather. Thanks, everybody.